Our social injustice is human sex trafficking. I'm Ashley Acosta.
I'm Samantha Norwood.
I'm Nora Ketterman.
And I'm Sherry Dom.
What is human sex trafficking? It's an illegal recruitment, transportation, transfer, harboring, or receipt of persons, sexual exploitation, forced labor, and sexual slavery. And according to the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, the definition of human trafficking is it's a crime against humanity. It involves the act of recruiting, transporting, transferring, harboring, or receiving a person through the use of force, coercion, or other means just for the sole purpose of exploiting them.
Human sex trafficking occurs all over the U.S. The U.S. records about 50,000 to 75,000 victims are trafficked into the U.S. from foreign countries, and about 100,000 to 300,000 American children are forced into prostitution.
Statistics on the numbers of women involved in which countries are close to impossible to come by. It is difficult to extrapolate the scale of the problem from numbers. Many of these victims do not come forward for the fear of retribution. From what we know, there are 700,000 women and children were trafficked worldwide in 2001. 600,000 to 700,000 people are trafficked across international borders each year.
Emily Toshi is a recently graduated student from USF and was a victim of human sex trafficking. She was kidnapped, beaten, raped, sold under constant threat, and was forced to do labor, but she managed to escape after 3 years of this brutality. She is happily married now with 2 kids, but still faces emotional struggles. She sees a counselor to get over her post-traumatic stress disorder and moments of terror. She saw many counselors here at USF and is trying to get past her difficulties.
Somali Mom is a Cambodian human rights advocate focusing on ending human sex trafficking. Somali began a life in extreme poverty. Growing up, her family often resorted to desperate means to survive, which led to Somali's fate to be determined by her family. Her family sold her to a sex brothel at 12 years old to pay for a new roof. Somali was raped and tortured on a daily basis. After 10 years of slavery, Somali heroically escaped. Since then, she vowed to never forget her experience. Somali now dedicates her life to saving victims. Her tireless efforts brought her much success in an organization called the Somali Mom Foundation.
My story is about a woman named Marinella Badea, and she was a teenager in Romania, and she was basically just hanging out at her house when all of a sudden the local kind of prostitution leader was at her door with some other man who she didn't know, and they forced her to come with him, and from there on she was sold into the life of a sex slave, and the leader was the pimp that showed up at her door, and he was in charge of a large Romanian sex trafficking team, and on average she was raped and beat by 50 men a week. Her pimp convinced her that he'd kill her, and she was beat regularly and treated like a prisoner and sold to a brothel. She was given a fake ID to get across national borders. While her family assumed she was dead, she considers herself very lucky because many of the girls that she had come in contact with ended up disappearing or being killed by their pimps. Over the years, she got to know like the sex trade secret codes, and what would happen is the pimp leader's girlfriend would go on the classifieds and call up local spas and massage parlors and ask for jobs, which were really just a way of asking if they were a brothel and they wanted more girls to be sent through to them. Eventually the police caught on with the sex trafficking organization, and along with a bunch of other girls, she was rescued. But at first, when they were first caught in the UK, she wasn't sure what the laws were, so she didn't really trust anybody and was really scared. In the end, Bogdan Nijilovanu and his son Marius received the longest sentence for trafficking in UK history. That's her. Okay, these are miscellaneous facts about human trafficking. The average age of entry to human trafficking is 12 to 14 years old.
75% of prostituted women have attempted suicide.
73% of victims have been assaulted and 57% have been raped during prostitution.
20% of trafficked victims are male.
66% of trafficked victims are women and 13% are girls.
Human trafficking has the second highest revenue out of all industries.
A call to action. Seroptimus is an international organization devoted to stop violence against women, especially sex trafficking. Seroptimus literally translates to best for women. It consists of almost 20 countries and 90,000 members. They have many resources for people who are willing to help out and learn more about sex trafficking. Raise Awareness provides facts and statistics about trafficking. Victim Services provides information about local Seroptimus projects, such as workshops and fundraisers for girls. Prevent Slavery provides resources for financial support for enslaved women. Once they come out, they have no support, if they have no financial means, so Seroptimus helps them with that. Also, enslaved women only work for their money, and they believe that nothing else can pay as good as that. Advocate for Change provides information about what Seroptimus is currently doing. Its members are meeting with national legislators on enforcing trafficking laws. Stop Trafficking Resources provides miscellaneous resources for trafficking, which exclude Seroptimus. And Act Now to End Slavery provides thought-provoking rhetorical questions and statistics. And this is their logo.
That's our website, and that's our social injustice, Project 3.